one point.
Wow. So this is not a stock for the faint of heart.
No, it's definitely been a roller coaster.
Yeah. And even now, like, the volatility is still pretty high, right?
Yeah, it's still considered a highly volatile stock.
So what's the 20-day volatility right now?
According to TradingView, it's around 15.23%.
Okay. So that's lower than it was at some points, but still pretty high.
Yeah, that means the price can swing up or down pretty significantly, even in a short time frame.
Right. So lots of speculation going on, lots of people trying to, like, time the market.
It definitely seems that way.
Yeah. And we saw that reflected in the trading volume too, right?
Absolutely.
Like, after the earnings report came out, there was a huge spike in volume.
Yeah, like on February 27th, almost 1 million shares were traded.
Wow. So that tells you people are paying attention.
It does, and I'm sure there was another jump in volume around the time of the full earnings release on March 19th.
Yeah. Yeah. So much interest in this stock.
It's definitely capturing people's attention.
Now, speaking of predictions, stockinvest.us. Back in February, they put out a forecast. They said they expected the stock to go up by like 46% in 3 months.
Yeah, that was a pretty bullish prediction.
Yeah, and they had a price target range of, was 6.08 to 23.82.
Yeah, a pretty wide range.
Yeah, but obviously, you know, it's March 28th now, and the stock is at 4.11. So that prediction hasn't exactly panned out yet.
No, not yet, but, 3 months isn't over.
Yeah, there's still time. But it is interesting, like, that price right now, it's pretty close to where the stock found support before.
Right, around that 4.15 level.
Yeah.
So that could be a key indicator.
Okay, so what does that mean?
Well, it could mean that the stock is trying to establish a new base.
Okay.
Consolidate around that 4.15 level. But if it drops below that, it could signal further decline.
Okay, so 4.15, that's kind of like the line in the sand. If it stays above it, good.
Potentially.
If it falls below it, not so good.
It could mean more downward pressure.
Okay, all right, so one other thing we should mention. Back on February 14th, there was a special meeting.
Right, a shareholder meeting.
Yeah, and they approved some pretty big stock issuances.
They did, and that's something that investors always need to be aware of.
Yeah, so what does that mean for, like, the average person who owns some shares?
Well, when a company issues more stock,
Mm-hmm.
it can lead to something called dilution.
Okay.
Basically, your existing shares represent a smaller percentage of the total company. And that can sometimes put downward pressure on the stock price.
Okay, so it's kind of a trade-off, right? The company gets more money, but potentially the existing shares become worth a little bit less.
Yeah, it's a delicate balance. They need the capital to grow.
Yeah.
But they have to be mindful of how it affects their shareholders.
Okay, all right. So we talked about the financials, we talked about the partnerships, we talked about the stock. What's the overall sentiment out there? Like,